Hello everyone, this is a video for lesson 10.1 and I'm going to teach you about basic matrix operations. Okay, so what is a matrix? It's basically something that you can use in technology such as like computers and large databases to input information without any context. Okay, so a matrix is typically used for information that is arranged in rows and columns, and that is exactly how you name the dimensions of a matrix. So you're going to start out by counting how many rows it has and then how many columns it has, and you will write that as a number and then a little x, which is by, and then columns, and each number in that matrix is known as an element. So if we scoot on over here and we wanted to name the dimensions of matrix A, I would say it has 2 rows by 3 columns. So take a second and look at this pizza price chart. We've got several different types of pizzas and we have several different types of sizes of pizza. So if you notice, the toppings on your pizza would be the rows, and then the size of the pizza would be the columns. So this is perfect for a matrix. So how many rows do we have? It looks like we've got 5 different types of pizza. So it would be 5 rows, and then we have 3 different sizes. That would give us 3 columns. What are the dimensions of the matrix? That is going to be a 5 by 3. So we're going to represent this data in matrix A. So here's what I suggest that you do. Let's write down everything in that first column, and then we're going to put the matrix stuff on it. So I've got 949, 999, and I have 3 1149s. Okay, so this is the symbol for a matrix. It's like a big bracket right here. We're going to put a capital letter and equals. All you got to do is finish up the other 2 rows. So it's just a really convenient way of organizing your information without putting any words or variables on it. All right, next up is adding and subtracting matrices. So this is actually pretty kind of common sense mathematically what's going to happen here. You are allowed to add and subtract matrices as long as they have the same dimensions. So the reason why that is, if you were going to add this matrix to this other matrix, is that you would take the top left hand element in each matrix and then you would combine that into one number. Same thing over here, top right, add them together, and that's going to make one number. So you're going to wind up with the same thing here with the C and the G and the D and the H, and the rules are the same for subtraction. Just be really careful when you do actually subtract. Just make sure that you remember that if you are subtracting a negative number, so it'll be A minus E, and if E is, whoa, what just happened? So A minus E, and if E is negative, that's going to be minus a negative number. So be really careful with that. All right, let's go ahead and work an example. And I'm going to ask you to do this one time when you are taking your notes. You don't have to do this when you're working out your actual homework. So I've got 2 minus negative 1. So on your notes, you're going to write out 2 minus negative 1. And then just keep going on that pattern. So we have 5 minus 7, negative 2 minus negative 5. Now I'm going to do the next column. I'll change colors. Negative 3 minus 2, 4 minus 8, and 8 minus 6. Okay, so ideally you would just go directly into the final answer. Remember, those are going to change into plus positives. So that would be 3, negative 2, positive 3, negative 5, negative 4, and positive 2. All right, let's take a look at this second example here. We have dimensions of a 2 by 3, and this one is just a 2 by 2. Now remember, if we're going to add and subtract, we have to have the same dimensions. If you notice, I have an extra row over here. What am I going to add that to? I can't. So this one is impossible to add. All right, so now it's your turn. I want you to go ahead and try to work this one out. You're going to wind up with a final answer of a 3 by 3. And go ahead and unpause when you're ready to check your answer. Alrighty, so hopefully your answers look like that. And just let me know if you have any questions about it. If not, let's go ahead and look on the back of your notes. And we're going to talk about a very specific kind of multiplication that is called scalar multiplication. And it's kind of got a weird name, but really all it is just a single number in the front of one matrix. It's kind of like distribution for a matrix, so you're just going to multiply every element in that matrix by whatever number that is out in the front. So let's see what that looks like. So right here, I've got this scalar here that is 2, and you can just do this part in your head, really. So just multiply every element in this matrix by 2. So that's going to be 6, 2, 4, -4, 10, and 0. And that's pretty much it. The only way it gets any more difficult is if you add more operations to it. As you can see that we have a scalar here. You're going to want to multiply this matrix by -3 first, and then you're going to add. So basically all you have to do is just follow your order of operations. If it will cooperate with me. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. So just follow the order of operations and you're going to be good to go. I'm going to have to restart this app. Hold on. Okay, it is restarted. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything by -3. That's going to give me -15, +6, 0, and -12. And now I'm going to add that to the second matrix. So final answer, -16, 9, 7, and -10. So when in doubt, just follow your order of operations if you have more than one thing to do. All right, so now we are on to our third example, so it's time for you to try. I want you to pause the video. Just make sure that you multiply first and then subtract. Be really careful when you subtract, and when you're ready to check your answer, just hit play. Okay, so this is everything multiplied by 4, and just be really careful, make sure you're subtracting. So like 12 minus 9 is 3, 16 minus -6 is 22, and so on and so forth. Now in this next part, just make sure that when you do your homework, please pay attention to the equations, because I don't really work any equations out on your notes. It's just one example of it. It's because it just kind of naturally follows, you know, kind of common sense. So upper left-hand column is going to be equal to the upper left-hand. So A equals 4. And then just keep going all the way around. So B is equal to -7. 2C is equal to 8. Now sometimes you might have to do a little work. So if 2C is equal to 8, divide both sides by 2, you get 4. And then the last bit here says D plus 4 is 6. So if D plus 4 is 6, that means that D is equal to 2. So they do get a little bit more complicated, but that's all that we're going to cover in this lesson for the moment. Okay, so let's look at some kind of real world context and matrices. So this particular example has two different tables of information. You have the top one with boys. This is the qualifiers for a 100-meter run. And you've got 3 different classes of boys, and then you have 2 different years. So same thing with the girls. You have the same information. You have the same 2 years and the same different classes, but you have different data. What this question wants us to do is it wants us to use the matrices, and we're going to combine it. That gives the average numbers of boys and girls who qualified in each class. Okay, so here's what we want to do. So it specifically says right here in this part, it says use the 2 matrices for combining into each year. So I've got the year 2019. I'm going to let that be matrix A, and then matrix B is going to represent the year 2020. All right, so that means we're going to have to rearrange it a little bit different than the way it is, but our classes are going to be the same. So the first row is going to be class 1, second row is class 2, third row is class 3, but the only difference is that I'm going to let this be boys and this be girls. Now remember, we don't have any contacts within the actual matrix itself. So boys would be 18, 23, and 16. And then if you look down here at the same year, for girls, it's 21, 22, and 24. Okay, so I think I'll change my mind. I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit so that way I have some more room underneath. Okay, so for 2020, I'm going to do the same thing, class 1, 2, and 3, boys, and then girls. So boys in 2020 was 16, 25, and 12. And then I have 15 girls and 18 and 18. Okay, so this is now 2019, 2020. What I want to do now is take these matrices right here and I'm going to average them together. So when I average them together, the average is when you add them both together. So I'm going to do A plus B and then I'm going to divide it by 2. Now, if you don't want to do it like that, you can say A plus B and then just take half of it. It doesn't really matter which one that you do, but I'm going to go with this method right here. So the average of the two, I'm going to call that matrix C. And I'm going to do this one. You got 18 plus 16 divided by 2, and that's going to wind up being 17. All right, so you see what I'm doing here? So 18 plus 16 divided by 2 will give me 17. All right, 21 plus 15 divided by 2 is going to give me 18. Okay, and just keep going with that same pattern. You can use your calculator or use your brain. So 23 and 25 divided by 2 is going to give you 24. 22 and 18 divided by 2 is going to give you 20. 16 and 12 divided by 2 is going to give you 14. 24 and 18 is going to give us 21. All right, and that's it for your notes. And please just make sure you pay special attention to the equations when you are working out your homework. And just let me know if you have any questions.